Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Keezy, and today I'm going to bring to you guys 10 major things in Spider-Man No Way Home that you guys did not notice. I don't know if you guys noticed all these, but these are very minor details that I thought were pretty big, not to the movie, but in terms of how popular they are, or in terms of the callback they make. We've got 10 of these, and yeah, but before we get into it, please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton. Go to the Patreon for full-length reactions to all the MCU shows, even movies. Other than that, guys, you guys can follow my socials. Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram are my main three, so to contact me, those are probably the easiest ways to. But nonetheless, let's get right into it. And for number one, we've got something that I consider a detail, but even if not, there are 10 more after this. But I just wanted to point out that in the Marvel Studios introduction for Spider-Man No Way Home, it's not just playing the score from the album, or I should say soundtrack of Spider-Man No Way Home, but it's actually playing a deep and almost dark rendition of the Marvel Studios theme with just drums.
Responsible for the brutal murder of Mysterio, an interdimensional warrior who gave his life to protect.
Okay, and if you didn't count that last one, for number one, the first minor detail that I thought was really cool was Charlie Cox's introduction. Now, Charlie Cox is introduced from almost the foot up with his staff, or his kind of cane. And what makes this so significant and interesting is this is exactly how Kingpin is also introduced in Hawkeye, and it's just a nice parallel between the two. I thought that was a really cool thing. Maybe they did on purpose, I don't know, but either way, I found that being very interesting and something you should know. For number two, we've got Charlie Cox catching the brick. Now, we all were jumping out of our chairs when Charlie Cox caught that brick in Spider-Man No Way Home. But what makes this even more cool, I guess, is Spider-Man was actually going to catch it. Peter himself was going to catch it right before Charlie Cox was. You can see in that clip that obviously Peter has a spidey sense, so he's gonna sense something especially dangerous coming his way, and with a brick going towards them, Peter definitely would have caught it. And you could see when Charlie Cox catches it, Peter's hand is right in front of Charlie Cox, which means if Charlie Cox was actually blind and had no super attributes, he definitely would have caught that. But I just thought that was a minor detail that I thought was very interesting. For number three, we're gonna have Sandman's introduction. When he's introduced first in the movie, he helps Peter out, and I just thought, oh, he sees Peter in a Spider-Man-esque suit, so he probably thinks that's his Peter. But it actually goes further than that. As we know, in Spider-Man 3, Flint Marko fights a Spider-Man with a black suit, and I think this is a great parallel that Sandman thinks that this is still that Peter with the same black suit, which is actually a really interesting thing to me that I didn't realize until I think the second or third time watching it. But yeah, it was just interesting, and that was another detail that I found. For number four, we've got probably the biggest one in here that I see not a lot of people understand. When Peter goes and helps Norman Osborn at the feast place, he says that it is not his problem or not his responsibility. And I'll play the clip right here.
Well, he needs help, and maybe they all do.
Wait, you don't mean... No, man, this isn't my problem.
Peter, not your problem?
This is actually such not only great foreshadowing, but a great callback to the previous two iterations of Spider-Man and Spider-Man in general. See, when Uncle Ben dies, it's at the hands of Peter not taking responsibility, not stopping the criminal that eventually ends up killing Uncle Ben. And this is relatively the exact same thing, except it's with Norman Osborn killing Aunt May. And because he didn't choose to take that responsibility, it comes back right around full circle, and he ends up, you know, killing Aunt May, which teaches Peter the true responsibility of being a hero at this level. And I thought that was just really cool. And they also like fake you out because it happened so early on in the movie compared to when Aunt May dies that like you kind of forget about it. But now when I notice it, it's actually insanely such a large detail, and I thought it was very interesting that they put in there. For number 5, we have Green Goblin's first voice after he supposedly got rid of Green Goblin by destroying the armor / the helmet. As we see in the apartment, when Doc Ock talks to Norman, at this point we think Norman is a normal person, and they conveyed this pretty well, but right when Doc Ock talks to him in the apartment, with Norman's like back turned to Ock, he actually, you can hear his goblin voice come out, and at that point you should know that it is not Norman Osborn in that apartment, and it never was. It was actually just Green Goblin, as he says later on, but it was actually just Green Goblin behind the identity of Norman Osborn. He was hiding, he was playing a game.
How does it feel, Norman? You're about to become whole again. No more darker half. Just you.
Just me.
And that was just an extremely interesting detail to me. And we all thought, you know, when Peter uses his spidey sense to web Norman Osborn, and then he finds out that, you know, Norman is actually, you know, back to being the Goblin mind. It actually happened a lot earlier and not at that point. And that was just a really cool detail. For number 6, we got the spidey sense on the rooftop. And what this is after Aunt May's death, we see that Peter's mourning, and he mourns with Ned and MJ as they bring the other 2 Peters to help him, you know, get over Aunt May's death and help him, you know, get through this. And what ultimately ends up happening is before MJ even tells Peter that, you know, they brought, you know, people, you can see him sense a presence. And I think this is a double, not a double callback, but I think it's a callback to Into the Spider-Verse when Peter meets Miles Morales after the spider bite, and they both have that spidey sense exchange.
Peter, there's some people here.
What?
And I think this is sort of the same thing where Peter can sense the other 2 just purely off of the other 2 also having a spidey sense, not because they're a threat or anything, but just because the connections that he has with them, you know, just naturally, even if he doesn't know, he definitely noticed that something was there and that he was connected to something, and those being the other 2 Spider-Men who also have that spidey sense. I just thought that was a good little detail that they put in. For number 7, we got Andrew talking with Max. This was a great callback to The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The first time he meets Max after the incident of him becoming Electro, he does not instantly try to, you know, end his reign on Times Square or anything. He tries to talk with him. He tries to, you know, help him understand that, you know, he's a good person and he doesn't need to do wrong things. And he does the exact same thing in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yo, Sparkles! Hey, how you doing?
It's you?
Yeah, I know it's me. Who are you?
You don't remember me?
No? Did I?
Max. Can we just talk for a second? Just you and me? Just talk?
Look who showed up.
Which tells us that, you know, they didn't change Andrew's character. Andrew's character did not miss a beat. The writing team did a great job with doing that with both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. And here they make Andrew Garfield first time meeting Max try and talk to him, which is just such a great callback. And it's something that Peter or Peter Parker in general would do because he's done it before. And I just thought that was a really good detail / callback to The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man No Way Home. For number 8, we got Tobey sensing the Green Goblin. Now, this is a very hard one to catch. I actually caught this by just rewatching Spider-Man No Way Home clips because I absolutely just love this movie. But when Green Goblin comes in after everyone's pretty much cured and Peter's talking to Doc Ock, you can hear Tobey Maguire's classic Spidey sense sound.
And the Spider-Man come out.
Now, you have to watch it over and over to really hear it, but when I first got it, it was almost uncanny. It's like mixed in with the rest of the audio, so it's kind of hard to hear, but it's there enough to where you can catch it. And yeah, I just thought this was such a cool detail. This was another one that I did not catch when I was watching the movie in the theater, but rewatching it makes me appreciate this detail a lot. For number 9, we've got Tom dodges the Green Goblin bombs almost exactly like Tobey does in Spider-Man 1. In the apartment firefight, or I don't know what you would call it, it's when the apartment's on fire and he fights Green Goblin in there, and Green Goblin throws all those like bombs and little like fly thingy. I don't know what they are. They're just his pumpkin bombs, but they fly and stuff. And he dodges them in a way where like he jumps over them sideways, and Tom Holland's Peter does this exact move. It's just like flipped. Instead of jumping the way Tobey did, he just like reflects it, I guess you would say. And yeah, as you saw, when those pumpkin glider things were coming in, Tom literally dodges all of them almost exactly like Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 1. Now, the last one for number 10 that I have is something I posted on Twitter, and I got a lot of feedback, and I got a lot of numbers, likes, retweets, all that. And it's a big thing that I guess a lot of people haven't noticed, and Doctor Strange pretty much says he loves Tom's Peter Parker, the MCU, universe's Peter Parker. And he does this right before Peter Parker makes the decision to move forward with the spell to forget who he is. And he doesn't say outright, "I love you," but he literally says that everyone who loves you, and then follows that up with, "We would forget everything about you." Here, I'll play the clip right here.
So cast a new spell, but this time make everyone forget who Peter Parker is. Make everyone forget. Me.
No.
But it would work, right?
Yeah, it would work. But you gotta understand, that would mean that everyone who knows and loves you, we'd have no memory of you. It would be as though you never existed.
As you guys saw right there, he pretty much just tells Peter that he loves him, which is so damn like heart-wrenching. Like, it makes that scene hit even more. Well, the second time I watched it, I noticed it, and then the third time I watched it, I already knew it was coming, and when it hit, it hit me so hard. And it makes that scene, like, even though that scene's emotional enough with Ned and MJ and how they counteract each other with, like, being scared about forgetting who Peter is and the consequences of this spell, I think this just kind of kicks off that emotional like avalanche for me. And yeah, I just thought it was a very major detail that a lot of audiences missed. And yeah, guys, those were 10 major details. All right, not all of them, but I don't want to put minor in the title. Hey, we got a clickbait. But those were 10 major, I should say, details, major to me at least, in Spider-Man No Way Home, that I thought were just very interesting, cool references, cool callbacks, things we just didn't notice at all, great connections, and overall just cool little details that show, a lot more work goes into these Marvel movies than just writing a script. They actually do their homework with, the previous Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire movies, and it absolutely showed. This movie was amazing, and if you guys haven't seen my review of this movie, you guys can go check it out right now. And yeah, go check out some more videos. Go over to the Patreon to show some love there. We've got full-length reactions to MCU shows, movies, and we're gonna have a lot more. And yeah, follow all the socials, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram are my main 3. But other than that, guys, it's Big Boy Keys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.